Alright guys, let's finally finish this screen. Hallelujah. I'm going to start by opening up my reference again so we can look at where the other items go. Okay, and I'm going to open up my navigation and then open up my icon folder, move it onto the star, and I'm just going to grab each one of these elements and create a new layer. Using our magic wand tool, we'll select the gray, Control Z to go backwards. Remember, if we're going to select an element that's on the reference layer, we need to have the reference layer selected right here. And we know what to do. Right click, layer via copy. There we go. Let's do that for the next one. And I'm going to name these as I go. Let's call this magnify. Okay. Back to reference layer. Control D to deselect. And let's use our magic wand tool. Holding shift, we need to get the middle part as well. If you're going to get more than one area, you have to hold shift so it doesn't deselect the other area. And let's right click, layer via copy. Great, back to reference, select the star, right click, layer via copy. And I need to rename these. We'll call this one play, call this one heart. For the sake of consistency, I'm going to come back and capitalize the magnify. There we go. Now we just need to do settings. And we're going to use our tool, back to reference layer, select, shift, select, and right click, make layer via copy. And we've done it. Excellent. Now while layer 1 is selected, let's shift click magnify so it selects all the layers in between. Drag these down to our icon area and drop them. Now we can close our icon, hide our reference. All we have to do is add our text, and I'm going to do that by grabbing the text group, opening it up, going over to features, selecting Control J or Command J, duplicating it, grabbing the move tool, and while holding shift we're just going to drag this over. There, now it's centered. I'm going to use my text tool to change this to search. I'm just guessing that's what it is. I'm going to run up here and check. Yeah, search my courses wish list. Alright, change this to the same color as the magnifying glass, so highlight the text, select the color from the magnifying glass, make sure it is centered by grabbing the move tool, shift. We're holding shift so it doesn't move up and down. And that's about right. With the search layer selected, Control J, Command J again, we'll duplicate and we're gonna drag. Okay, and this should be, sorry I keep having to look, my brain seems to keep forgetting, my courses and wish list and settings. So let's change it. My courses, looks good. Control J, Command J to duplicate while holding shift, drag. Oops. I'm going to redo that, drag it over, centered, wish list, and Control Command J, duplicate and drag, and settings. There we go. I'm going to run back up here one more time, make sure that looks good. It looks the exact same, almost. Text is a little bit off, but that's fine. There we go. We can finally delete this reference layer. We no longer need it. And I want to zoom out to 50% so we can have a good look at what we just created. And that was a lot of work. I want to congratulate you guys. You guys just did something very intensive as far as design goes. And I know we're just copying right now, but we're going to apply all these same practices to creating our own custom app design, which is going to be very cool. But for now, look what you've done. Be proud of yourself, pat yourself on the back. And what are we going to do before we exit out of this stuff? Yes, thank you. We're going to save this really quickly as a PSD. And instead of calling it template, we're going to call it featured.psd. And I'm going to save this in my Udemy folder, into my PSD folder, alongside the other PSDs, featured.psd, save, OK, and we're going to save it one more time as a JPEG. Let's go back to our Udemy folder and to our JPEG folder. Featured is already selected. Let's change the extension to JPEG, and we now have that saved as both. Excellent. One very last thing, if you recall, we saved a template at the bottom onto our desktop, and I'm going to grab this template real quick and open it with Photoshop. You guys probably saved this to your desktop. I want to grab this bottom navigation bar because we're going to be using that as our template for the other screen, so we're not going to have to recreate that. So let's move to the bottom. Let's minimize our navigation folder. Make sure it's selected, and with our move tool we're just going to drag this into our template.psd, drop it in here, make sure it is lined up, and we don't want the stroke on the outside to be showing everywhere. I'm going to zoom into 300% so I can just make sure that this is lined up perfectly, and I'm going to drag it down, and there we go. Let's, oh nope, it seems to be a bit outside. Make sure neither stroke side showing. Now this stroke side showing. We can actually just drag it out a little bit, make it a little bit bigger, and that'll take care of the problem. No, let's not do that. That's a bit, don't apply. I just want to make sure that that little, and there we go. It's not showing on either side. Zoom out to 100. That's our template. Let's go ahead and file, save that to our desktop, and we are ready to move on.